Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Monday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin. Dennis Dick with you on this Super Bowl Monday morning. A lot of news to discuss. We'll talk Super Bowl for like a little bit, like a minute. But moving beyond that, Gilead is making a crazy move this morning. We talk about why and whether or not that move was justified. Just still tracking the coronavirus. Nothing really new on that front. Well, Gilead is what's new on that front. So we'll talk the move in Gilead here. A lot of ratings happening this morning, upgrades, downgrades, initiation. So we'll talk about that. Talk about the move in China overnight and what that means for our market this morning. And we'll preview Google's earnings after the close today. Our guest at 8:35 will be joined by Sean Udall, who's the CIO of Quantum Trading Strategies. And Joel, what is the word here overnight?
Got some nice green on the screen, up 16.25 handles at 32.40 and a quarter. Pre-market low, just below that daily close at 32.24. We hit 32.22 off the open, and then boom, straight up 32.50. 50 is your pre-market high. Nothing up there, folks. My weekly number to determine if we're going back up to all-time highs is 3245. So we'll keep an eye on that. Crude moving towards $50, down 4 cents at 51.52. Gold cannot get back over 1,600, down 470 at 1583.20. Silver in the red by 0.222 cents at 1779. Bitcoin, let's call it flat here, up $5 at 94.45. Let's bring on Triple D. Triple D, did you get the Super Bowl, or do you guys just get the Grey Cup in Canada?
Oh yeah, it doesn't come across. We can't get U.S. television in Canada yet. So
maybe you should
who won? Who won?
The Kansas City Chiefs won. The Super Bowl indicator says that's bad for the market. But did you watch part of the game, Dennis? You watched part of it. You know what the tipping point was?
The halftime show.
Wow, let's not talk about that. Every male in America loved that halftime show. But interesting. But if you could do, and I know this is going to be available soon, if you could do intra-game wagering, you know what I mean? When the games are actually going on, like you used to be able to do on Trade Sports.
Can't you still do that? Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure there's sites that do that.
Fair you can, but not on the U.S. books. But when San Fran was up 20-10, and KC was driving, and they threw that second interception, and then the whole San Francisco defense runs down to the end zone and starts shaking and dancing like the game is over.
Yeah,
I would have started lifting offers to KC to win. You don't do that in the Super Bowl.
Don't flaunt it. Don't give them momentum. Don't let them get emotion into there.
Yeah, and that was it. They fell about, and they fell apart after that. Spinner says Super Bowl indicator has been wrong 4 years in a row. That is true, but
so it's a contraindicator.
Oh, it's
excellent. Now we've got another indicator.
An indicator of indicators. Spencer, what did you think about the game?
Oh, I thought it flew by.
It was a good game.
I looked down. It was the fourth quarter already. I was like, wow.
It was a good game.
It flew by, and then fourth quarter. Then I was like, oh man, it must be pretty early. And then nope, it was 10:30, and I had 45-minute drive home, but it was good, great game. Nothing you can say. I was telling Joel though, I did go to my first experience going to a recreational dispensary in Michigan now, because it's legal. Cannabis is legal here, recreationally. So I went to a recreational dispensary yesterday in Ann Arbor, and
how was that?
It was good. It was a good experience.
Exciting.
I was in and out in like 5 minutes.
I had to wire them more money.
There's nobody there.
I had to wire them money.
Yeah. No, I mean, as long as you have, a valid state issued ID, and you're over the age of, I think it's 21.
Really?
The
world is changing.
World is changing.
Yeah. Anyways, the world is changing. all over the place. Nice rally here this morning.
Very nice.
Obviously, we had the ugly day on Friday where the market finally started to get some sense into it. I've been challenging the market all week and not understanding why it won't go down with the potential contagion here. And I don't know if it's a contagion, but what do they call it? Pandemic? Potentially, but the potential pandemic, we'll call it. I have not understood at all why the market continues to be so resilient. It's resilient again here this morning. I still think, like I was saying before, I'm not buying dips, I'm selling rips. I sold more Friday morning before we started dipping. I actually sold some S&P SPY out of my long-term portfolio, which I've never done before. And I also sold something else too. Oh, I sold Manulife, which is Canadian. I was like, nah, I'm not owning that one either. So just lightening up the portfolio. I'm actually at a portion now where my portfolio is probably as much cash as I've had since the financial crisis. So but we'll see. You know, I'm making a call that I think this thing is not. I think we're only early innings.
Let's just throw out the entire, virus, all right, and everything that's going on with that. The market was up 30% last year. Okay, we had an amazing
time for some profit taking.
We had an amazing January. Okay, so even if you throw this out, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the market to have a correction here. So I mean, you have to look at the different factors. Election year, pretty positive for the market, though you do have, some different things going on. But, I mean, a healthy correction is always good for the market. You certainly don't want a catalyst such as we have right now, but markets look for catalysts. So there's a potential catalyst in the market to take it down a frothy market here. So I don't think, I think you got to look at this from a couple different perspectives if you're a long-term investor.
I just think there's so much, there's just so much craziness happening even around this virus. I mean, check out the action in Gilead here overnight. This just goes to show you, and people are questioning, why are you analyzing numbers? I'm on Twitter and I'm looking at the numbers, and I've been challenging the mortality rate for quite some time because they're saying it's only 2%, but the way they calculate it, I don't agree with it because they're calculating the new cases and looking at the deaths, but people aren't dying on the first day they're diagnosed. So it'd be better, and I'm looking more at that healed number, and the healed number isn't climbing as much as, you'd hope. It's kind of hanging close with the deaths number, which, I don't like. But it just goes to show you this action in Gilead. So it was announced Friday night. Give us the headline, Spencer. And Joel will take you tail of the tape here from this morning, which was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, this is Gilead's drug that I believe also was used for Ebola and SARS, or was developed to fight Ebola at least. And they're testing it to see of its efficacy with this current coronavirus, because that's what all these viruses are, essentially different strands of coronaviruses. So they're testing the Gilead drug developed for Ebola and seeing if it could work for this current coronavirus. But they don't know yet how effective it'll be. They're just testing it.
Yeah, so they're testing it. So this popped up a little bit on Friday night. I actually could have bought it. I could have bought it at 64, and I'm like, wow, it's Gilead. I mean, they're just testing. I mean, we've heard AbbVie. Didn't we hear AbbVie last week doing some testing too?
Yes, we did.
Weren't they talking about AbbVie as potential doing some testing on using one of their drugs?
Yes, they were.
And that stock got a lift a little bit, but that lift was faded. I mean, this got absolutely silly here. I couldn't even believe it when you told me, Joel, just a few minutes ago. I did not look at where it went to at 4 a.m. But this is just in the 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you're trading between 4 and 5 a.m., you need to understand liquidity is very, very low, and stocks can go a lot of places that make absolutely no sense. How high did Gilead get this morning?
77.70, and this is actually one of those occasions where there was a volume trading.
It traded up there. I went and looked at the tape, and it traded up in the 70s for the better part of an hour. This is Gilead. This is one of the biggest, biotech companies in the world. It's not like this one drug that might temporarily, experimentally help the virus, which, I hope it does. But it's not a game changer for them. Do you believe this is a long-term virus that's going to be out here forever and we're all going to have to take this drug to survive? I mean, that's what the market was pricing when the thing goes to $77. It's insanity. The Gilead is thick. It moves $1 or $2. That's a big move for Gilead. To move Gilead 14 points, that would be like a takeover. I mean, absolutely crazy. So I don't know who's paying, and I wish I would have been up before in the morning because I'd have been shorting hand over fist on that one. That's just craziness. 66 sounds a little more fair, but again, you know, I don't even know if that holds up. So maybe it does because everybody's got a little fear going on this thing now. But man, that $77 Gilead is absolutely ridiculous.
Going back to the dailies here. Well, actually, I just want to make one more comment, regarding the overall market and, the toll of the virus. Up to this point, let's say everything ended tomorrow, right? And everything was back to normal in China. There has been, there's been disruption in the Chinese economy, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, these quarterly numbers are coming out great. Apple closes their iPhone store, etc. So, there's already going to be an economic
damage.
impact. There has to be. There's just no way. So that's the other thing that you're looking at, that is from my perspective, it may be reflected in the next quarter, the longer it goes on. But
it's going to be a lot of earnings warnings coming, and maybe they shrug them off because this is only, a one-time event, but there's got to be a lot of warnings coming. I mean, a lot of these places do Disney numbers. Let's just talk about Disney. I mean, they've closed a park. It's got to be cost of money to do that. So, and you know what? They're holding the stock up. Disney's held up fairly well. I mean, I'm surprised.
And Joel, to your point, 2/3 of the Chinese economy is still closed. 2/3 of it is closed right now.
Right.
And it's how much is China of the global economy? Somebody was saying it's over 20%. I don't know if that's numbers are right, but it's significant.
That sounds
I don't know if 20% is right, but I did read that on Twitter. I'm not sure if it was right. I don't have anything to verify that, but it's significant. So it's got to hit, also many multinational corporations. Their international numbers, when they're bringing them in, are going to get hit on this, even if they solve the problem tomorrow, like you're saying. And I don't believe this problem is. Personally, I think we're in the very early innings of this. I don't think we're in like inning 7 and, Gilead, here's the cure, we're all saved. An experimental drug, and they're going to get a vaccine. It's not that's not the issue, but how quickly does that get to market? Because we've looked at the numbers here on the show last week, and we're up to over 17,000 cases here now, and you start thinking, it's going to probably, what are the real numbers? First of all, do we even believe China? Secondly, when you're doing the math, even if they have, and obviously the numbers haven't been going up as much as they were because probably some of the quarantines, some of their, actions here to try to contain the virus are working. But, even at that, you could see how this number is going to probably get into the hundreds of thousands here in the next couple of weeks. And that's scary when that many people are affected. If it's not already there, like we said, a lot of people don't believe the numbers coming out of China, and I'm not sure I do either. So there's a lot of things to still be nervous about. So I'm looking at this. I've hedged a lot of my portfolio. I've sold some, and I've got puts. So I'm standing pat here for now because I think we're in the early innings.
Right. And just going back to the Gilead, holding 66. I'm going to look at that. Philip 66 here. Holding 66. He had 1, 2, 3 highs in the lower 66s. So a breakout from that level. You hold 66. I think you're going to run into problems at 68 right now. Looks like just some offers are stacking up. I think you'll find some more offers at 70. People that got caught. I mean, 140,000 shares traded in that bracket there. Yeah. So holding 66. I don't know anything about the drug. I don't know anything about the test. But for Gilead today, important to hold 66.
It was trading up 65, 66 after hours. And that felt okay. They got an experimental. That felt right. It's just, it was irrational exuberance, for lack of a better word, at 4 a.m. People coming in and saying, oh, I've read all the headlines all weekend. Gilead's got this thing. Buy, 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 buy. 4 a.m. trading is very dangerous. I honestly, and I trade it sometimes, but you've got to have a lot of experience trading those hours. Because if you're coming in, you get crazy pricing sometimes. I like it because there's obviously a lot of inefficiencies at 4 a.m. And before I had kids, I used to trade those hours all the time, because there is inefficiencies there. But, I have kids, hard to get up at 4 a.m. to trade the markets and then trade them all day too. So it's a different story. I'm just too tired to do it. But, 7 years ago, I traded 4 a.m. lots of times because there's inefficiencies like this Gilead. It had no business being over 70, let alone 77. Just nuts. It's not like this is a small spec biotech company that's going to go up 200% on this. This is Gilead. This is one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world. It's been struggling to find any growth of anything for a while. This is a story for it now, and that story can carry it a little ways, but I don't think this is a $70 stock.
And what I like to say is that it's if you're new at it or something and you're doing it and you have something that you want to exit, you have something at a target or whatever. If you had a 75 target in Gilead on your long or something, of course things can go much more in your direction in the regular session. But look at it from, wow, I got a 75 target here. It closed at 64. Look at it from that perspective. Give
But
it.
are you up at 4 in the morning to take advantage of that too, is the question.
Yeah, that's a
I
question.
mean, and do you have access? A lot of retail platforms don't even give you access at 4 in the morning. So
Yeah,
like somebody was asking, where do you trade it for? I mean, ARCA and NASDAQ are open at 4 a.m. That's the open. So the actual hours, so, obviously everybody thinks the market's 9:30 to 4, and I get these questions all the time. I'm working at 6 o'clock at night, and then what do you trade in the Asian markets? People, 99% of people out there, not traders, but of just normal people don't realize that you can trade the market after hours. So yeah, 4 a.m. is the open, ARCA, NSDQ. Obviously, the regular opens 9:30, and then 8 p.m. is the close in ARCA, NSDQ. Edge opens up at 7, so a little bit different. The direct edge exchanges open up at 7, so a little bit different hours there. But on ARCA, NSDQ, you can trade as early as 4 a.m. And yeah, TD's got the thing that you can trade 24 hours a day, but that's their own internal markets, and they're only doing it on some ETFs where they can hedge out the risk.
Nice little bump here, another leg up in the S&P futures. Now we are up nearly 20 handles.
I love the rally.
Yep, there we go.
I hope they solve the thing, and I really hope I'm wrong. Obviously I was very bearish last week, and Friday, gave me, obviously looked a little bit like maybe I'm right here. But the rally here this morning, they could contain this thing. I mean, there's so many unknowns. The reason I went more to cash and the reason I was protecting my portfolio is because the insurance was cheap. When it was priced out and I'm paying 1.5% to hedge myself for the next month, it seemed too cheap not to take that, because I think the risk was much more than 1.5%. So, and obviously we saw that on Friday when the markets fall over 2% in one day. So I'm not saying I don't have shorts on. I'm not making money on this. I do have some puts, but that's all it is, protective puts on my portfolio. I'm trying not to lose money is what I'm trying to do. I'm still trading, and obviously I do put shorts on in my trading account, but on my long-term investing account, I never go short. I'm still believe in the long-term markets, let the long-term markets continue to go higher. But during the financial crisis, I was hedging myself. And I feel like this is not the financial crisis, but I feel like this is an event that was worth hedging. The risk return when SPY was trading up at 328 after Apple, and then after Amazon as well, I believe, after hours, it was giving you a good opportunity to hedge yourself. Now we're down a significant from that, but I don't think it's, if you're worried about the market, I don't think it's too late to hedge at 324 SPY. What are your thoughts? What are you doing with yours? You hedged yourself
I have
too.
a little bit, not as much as you, because I've
Did you
already
cover?
I haven't covered anything. Kind of wish I did, but
I wish I did too, and I put it back on right now. But
yeah, no, but it's there for a purpose. How much do you think what China did here is affecting why the market's up? I mean, they're not allowing short selling on the markets. Is it today, or how long is it supposed to say? They'd issue a verbal directive not to permit clients selling borrowed stocks. I mean, is that a fair market?
No, I know. And they did this during the financial crisis too, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. I just analyzed the numbers for Bright Trading back during the financial crisis, because they banned shorting on all financial stocks in the financial crisis, which is absurd. And during that period of time, during the 3-week ban, so you think automatically, oh, the financial stocks are going to go higher because they've been banned short selling. During that 3-week period, the market was down. This is the financial crisis. During the ban, the overall market was down 18%. Financials were down 23%. So here you had short selling banned because they wanted to hold up the financial stocks, and the financial stocks ended up being down more than the overall market. So stuff doesn't work to hold the markets up, banning short selling. You need that efficiency in there. I mean, the first people that start a rally are the shorts.
I know. I was just going to say,
when you're seeing markets go straight down, everybody's scared to buy, but the short's not scared to buy because they're bringing in the profits. So they're the first people that add stability to the market when the market starts to go down, believe it or not. It's not the shorts coming in and bashing stocks down, and people think there's bear raids and they're coming in and just bashing, and everybody who shorts stocks are evil people. I mean, it just gives you price efficiency. Because you don't short stocks, that's why you see stocks like Tilray go to $300 a share. because you couldn't get a locate, you couldn't find the thing, and the thing goes irrational because it doesn't have a fair market happening. Now it's at 17, so everybody bought it at 250 and 300. Can thank our regulators for not, making it easier to short a stock like that. So that's where, the inefficiencies really happen, is when you start to try to manipulate your markets by trying to mess with free market mechanics. Shorting is actually good for the market, guys. It keeps prices efficient. Next.
So it's not just a ban on short selling, to be clear. It's also the PBOC is injecting $174 billion of liquidity into the market via reverse repo operations, and they have told some of their brokerages that their prop traders cannot be net sellers of equities this week. So take that.
They're just trying to do everything they can to hold up the markets. Shouldn't they be more concerned in the contagion? Like, let's stop the contagion, then the markets will hold up naturally. Stop this thing from spreading. Don't worry about your markets right now. They're gonna get hit. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it makes absolute sense that they get hit when we see what's happening over there. I'm surprised they're not down more. I mean, I think you need to start just focusing on the problem, not trying to manipulate the markets because they're responding to the problem.
Yeah, you're probably right.
We got some other drug news, Spencer. Something that affects me and you here.
Oh, some great drug news. Immune Therapeutics, ticker AIMT, M as in Mary, T as in Tango. This was from Friday night, I believe. But they have a drug that is a peanut allergy drug, Palforzia, that got FDA approval. It is the first approved treatment of its kind for patients with a peanut allergy, which both Joel and I have, though it won't work for us because it's only for children.
So you take this and then your peanut allergy goes away? Is that it? Did you do a little more?
I mean, that's certainly, yeah. As for kids ages 4 to 17, and they gradually increase the dosage. So this medicine has peanut flour in it, and you gradually increase the dosage over time, and that builds up your immunity.
So you're trying to give some exposure to it,
right?
I mean, I have a friend. It's the same thing. Yeah, I have a friend that's their child's very allergic to peanuts, and he has to eat 1 peanut a day. Like the kid's 3 or 4 years old now, and has to eat, or 3, I think he's 3, but they have to eat 1 peanut every day, and then they will monitor that closely, trying to build up the immunity. So obviously, that's a different style. It's not a drug doing it, but it's apparently helping with it. So, I mean, in some cases, kids are deadly allergic, you maybe can't do that, but maybe when it's just, slight allergy, is a way to, by introducing that a little bit, that your body can build the necessary immunities to it. I'm not sure, but that's what they've done with them, is he's eating 1 peanut a day to try to build up that immunity to it.
Is that under a doctor's orders, or is he?
Yeah, because yes, it is. It was like, I don't know who it is, what doctor. I don't know the details of it, but I'm just telling you from, that's a friend of my wife's, and the kid's eating 1 peanut a day to try to deal with this sensitivity or allergy or whatever it is. I mean, obviously not an allergy that kills him, but I think he's supposed to be closely monitored as he's, they got the EpiPen and everything closely monitored as they're introducing that. But I believe it is helping. So this kind of sounds the same thing, like a peanut powder in the pill to try to build up your immunity, correct?
Yeah, that's basically what.
So there's something to that. I mean, and it's good, there's people that are allergic to these peanuts all over the place. I mean, our kids can't go to school anymore.
I mean, Joel and I are.
There you go. So excellent. This is good news here today. This is news that can drive a stock price. The one thing being said, though, and there was an analyst that came out and said, I guess this was expected, this approval. So the stock is up, but it was trading a lot higher after hours, and it's not up nearly as much. And somebody was saying this was expected, this approval. I don't know. I'm not following the story. I'm just saying, what I've read on Twitter is that that this was somewhat expected approval. So maybe that's why the stock's only up 14%.
Yeah, I've never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and I've never had to use an EpiPen either. But I know Spencer.
Oh, you haven't lived, Joel.
Yeah, Spencer.
Actually, no, you have lived. That's why you haven't.
Exactly.
Did you have that right? You guys both had that right from when you were born?
Yep.
How do you discover that? Like, they give you some peanut butter and you go to the hospital? Like, how do you discover?
I had to get tested because when I was a baby, we lived in Taiwan for 6 months, and I had to get tested for allergies before I went overseas. So that's how they found out that I was allergic. But normally you eat it and then you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Either way, Yeah. Ambulance 911. He's allergic to peanuts. Stay close to the hospital when you're eating your first peanut.
Pretty much, that's how it goes.
We got a big pop in that AIMT, not quite to an all-time high. We got to 39.71. And if you looked at that all-time high the issue made, that was at 42. So that's a little ways away. But you're starting to fade right now. And you're under a critical level. I'm going to use $37. The reason I'm going to use 37 is because you had 3 highs in that area back on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of the month, with 37 being the highest number. We're $1.33 away from there. So boom, I'm using that. Got to get over 37, or this could very easily just roll over and get back a lot of those gains.
The market is all about expectations. So that's why I was just giving the warning that some people are saying this was expected. So, and sometimes, you have this, boom, boom, everybody gets excited. And then when the real money comes in after 9:30, that's when you get real pricing. I mean, that's the one thing about the pre-market and after hours trading. And is that you get these moves because the big money, the institutional money, yes, sometimes, but most of your big money managers aren't coming in at 4 a.m. and trading. I mean, they're getting paid. They're not going and leaving their families at 4 a.m, to go and trade. It's, prop traders like me that are getting paid directly for my performance. Obviously they get paid performance, but I get paid 100% on my performance. So it's a different story. That's why the big money really comes in after 9:30. The big money is trading from 9:30 to 4. There's more liquidity there. If you want to move big money in and out, it's more difficult in the pre-market and after hours. So you see big moves. It can give you great indicators. We love it as indicators, and we love it, to look, for, obviously where the stocks are going to be strong, which stocks are going to be weak. But on some thinner names, it's still price discovery still happening even after 9:30.
And no, I was not happy in the Super Bowl commercial when they said Mr. Peanut was dead. Did you see that?
What? No, I didn't. I missed that one.
Yeah, dumb marketing campaign. What
was that about?
Don't even worry about it. It's just a dumb marketing thing.
Mr. Kool-Aid was there, and Mr. Peanut died, and they were burying him in the commercial. And then after it looks like it was over, then this little baby peanut popped up sprouted from where Mr. Peanut was dead. And it's like, I'm back. So that was the commercial. So Mr. Peanut died, but now they have baby peanut.
So all the people with peanut allergies were cheering, and then the baby peanut came back. They're like, oh.
I just how many billable hours and meetings went into that commercial? I mean, how much?
What was the cost of a commercial this year?
Like, how much labor went into that commercial? How many weeks or months of meetings and plans did that commercial take? Super Bowl. What was your question, Dennis?
What was the cost this year?
It was
30-second ad.
It was $5.2 million.
Holy, that's got big. That's.
I'm sorry. That was not this year's number.
Wasn't?
No, that was
still big.
That was a couple.
6.5. Mitch is saying.
Yeah, sorry, I read.
$6.5 million to get 30-second mention. Holy mackerel! Big money, no whammy.
We could get them some much better advertising rates.
I'm telling you, yeah. Pre-market prep. We'll be under 6.5, guys. Come give us a call. We'll be under 6.5.
All right, let's look at Google here. Really not much in the way of earnings this morning or after the close today. It's Monday is typically the lightest day of the week. But we do get Google. It is the big report of the day, and they're due after the close today. We're looking for an EPS of $12.55 on a revenue of $46.93 billion. I'll pull up the GOOG chart here. And we have to figure that they're going to beat on both after what we saw last week.
Hard though, Facebook missed, so I think it's still a crapshoot, and even the response to it is a crapshoot. What are we looking at on a straddle here, Joel? You got it?
Yeah, actually I do have. Where did it close at?
We had 1434, so grab 1435's close. That'll do it.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Google because that's what
sure.
People like. 1435. Let's call it $40 on the call, and let's call it 42 on the put.
80 points.
The implied
it worked with Tesla, worked with Amazon. So straddle raters have been beat up on a few stocks this quarter. So 80 points. It sounds right to me.
The
sounds
implied
right.
move is 5.6%. That's the implied move.
Yeah, 5.6% or 80 points. We like to look on points. I mean, 1500 is your wall of resistance up there. That's where you got the little triple top. What happens there? I am long Google in the long-term portfolio. I've been long it for almost a decade. It's been one of my best stocks. I think I'm averaged in at, I don't know, because it's split from GOOG to Google. I originally bought a 500, but then I got 2 stocks, and then I had the other thing. I think it averages down like 250 bucks I'm in from. So long-term investing has worked in Google.
Working in that one for you for sure. Yeah, I just looked at the Google here, and you did have those trio of highs, right? 1500 all-time high, and that one's 1550, 1500.58, and then GOOG all-time high, and that is only 1503.20. Dennis, do you ever try and arb those, or is that absolutely impossible?
It's the HFT's got this now. The odd time, something after hours, you can do it, but it's really tough. And the ones that you call it share class arbitrage, you can call it, or contractual arbitrage. You got the VIA B versus VIA A. You used to have the VIA B versus VIA A. Obviously that merged, but it's a VIAC versus, I don't even know what the symbol on the VIA one is now. It's different because obviously after the merger with CBS. But there's Discovery. A lot of your media stocks have 2 classes, LGF.B, LGF.A. On an earnings event or something, you might have a shot, but the HFT guys got this pretty good. That stuff, when I used to do this, 15 years ago, and a little bit algorithmically as well, there was opportunity, there was edges. Now the HFT guys got that pretty good. So it's hard to make money trading GOOG versus Google.
What about with other types of these stocks? So Under Armour, Carnival.
Yeah, there is the odd, I would say, on a news event, sometimes something can get out to lunch there a little bit in the pre-market, not so much during the day, but sometimes in the pre-market you can get a slight opportunity, but they're few and far between, Spencer. Yeah. Like I'll put this in perspective for you. I know a lot about this contractual trade. In 2000, I think it was 2003 or 2004, I think I've told this story on the show before. Yeah. I exclusively traded VIAB versus VIA. That was my stock. I traded that thing continuously. And I actually traded so much that I was trading on the VIA. I was trading over 10% of the volume a day. So if you bought or sold VIA, Viacom, the A shares in the year 2003, there was a 1 in 10 chance you bought or sold it from me. So I was trading it a lot. And there was other couple people in our firm that were trading it as well. So probably like between, the guys at Bright Trading, which we had 400 traders in our firm at one time, we're probably doing like 20, 30%, maybe 40% of the volume on that thing. So it was, it was good, but I was going for nickels on it. I was just sitting there trading for nickels. If ever I could buy the VIA below the VIAB, I would always do it because the VIA has the voting rights. It was the only difference. So obviously should never trade below the VIAB. So I'd automatically just put it on and then take it off. And where you really make some money is like on a news event where even, you got a big movement in the overall market. There was good opportunity. The algorithmic trading has come in and they've kind of just, pretty much mastered that. So it's very hard as a human or even an algorithmic trader like myself. Sometimes I use algorithms, but I'm not going to be fast enough. I'm not going to win the race. I'm not spending, hundreds of millions of dollars on technology to win the speed race. So it's difficult to make money trading those things. Like I said, the odd time pre-market after hours, you might get a news event that gives you a slight opportunity, but they're few and far between.
All right, we got to talk about Tesla. Tesla.
It goes up if the market goes down. It goes up if the market goes up. This stock is unbelievable. That action on Friday was insanity. I mean, they were hitting every single stock across the board. Tesla was up. Tesla closed at the highs. What are you thinking if you are actually short Tesla? I mean, just analyzing it. If you're short Tesla, and you see the market and the Dow down 650 points and you see Tesla trading higher, what is going through your head? If they can't go down when the Dow is falling 650, what's bringing the stock down? I mean, eventually it's coming down. Eventually it will come down just because it's been a ridiculous run. But this thing, when you're seeing relative strength like that, it's telling me the run is not over. And here we are. So market goes down 650 or whatever we went on the Dow on Friday, and the Tesla trades higher on that. And here we go up just a little bit, and Tesla rips higher now, another 24 points. If you're just trading the relative strength indications off of this thing, it would have had you long on Friday. And you'd be really happy here this morning. I mean, we might see 700 here today. We might go to 600 to 700 in 3 days. We obviously had an earnings event in there, but this is just absolutely incredible. the trading action in this, I've almost never seen a stock of this market cap. You know, it's not like this is like a little $5 billion company. It's going to 15 billion. I don't know if I've ever seen a stock, $100 billion market cap, put on market cap this fast. It's so impressive.
What's there to say? We're 75, 79. That's where your high is right now. You're right off that level. If you're short, I don't know what to tell you. If I would have been trading that thing actively and short and the market was going down, I would have been shorting more and getting crushed. So I'm like,
don't follow
exactly what I would have
Joel on that one.
Yeah. You know, if the only thing I could say is if you have a target, take your target. If it's 680, it's 680. It's 690, 690, it's 700. If you don't have a target, then, you know, don't worry about it and don't think about it. Where to buy, I don't know what to tell you on this one. I won't say I've been wrong.
If you're buying it now, you are so late to the party.
I could have said that all.
We have been saying it all the way up. We have been saying it.
Well, we got to stop saying.
I mean, I've been bullish the stock. I stay bullish the stock, but I can't bring myself to buy it at, you know, when it's 500, when it ran from 400 in a week. I can't bring. I'm not chasing. I mean, the chase has worked in this case.
Is there news?
You did have a couple pullbacks in there.
Is there news?
Does it need news?
Yeah, there's never. Yeah,
it never needs news. It just goes.
News.
It just goes.
I haven't seen any news this morning on Tesla. I saw some about a battery in China, but no, I don't think anything that would.
It just goes.
You know what? It could be. Remember when I got my Apple Watch?
Wait a minute. Before you get to that, didn't you drive Jason's Tesla this weekend?
I was supposed to.
You didn't?
Jason? I'm supposed to get
it. Remember Jason gave Joel said he was going to give Joel
it for a week.
Where is he? Is he in the office?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's in yet.
He's not in.
But I texted him on Saturday. Okay?
He didn't give you his card?
I texted him on Saturday, and it was kind of icy. And he said that he wanted to take me out on the freeway and really jack it up to like 150, 160. But
it was snowing.
He said it was snowing. So he didn't want to do it in the snow. And I just want the car. I really don't want to drive 150, 160. If Lisa's listening, she would shoot me if she knew.
If the cops are listening, they're going to shoot you too.
And then on Sunday, I was running around and doing some stuff. I think Josh had a basketball game. So we're either going to do it at lunch today.
Fine.
Stay away from Joel on the road.
Sean, look who's here.
Sean, have you driven a Tesla before? Oh, wait, I got him on mute. My bad. Here, let's try this again.
He looks laser focused here.
He is.
Sean, have you driven a Tesla before?
Testing.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay. You know, I haven't driven a Tesla, and I really can't say that I really have wanted to drive a Tesla. There is a new Roadster coming out that it's possible I might think about buying, because I did think about buying the initial Roadster many years ago. That's the only Tesla that kind of strikes my fancy. The truck, I actually thought I made a mistake when I saw the truck. I can't say I knew it, but you know, when you kind of know a trade's going to work, at least your brain thinks it's a high conviction, you know a trade's going to work. And honestly, when I saw the truck, I'm like, the stock's going to go up. So
I thought the exact opposite. When I saw the truck, I thought the stock was going to go down. It looked ugly. Why did you think the stock was going to go up on the truck? That thing's ugly.
Because I think it's everything that the Tesla bulls want it to be. And I
indestructible.
Think it's that simple. And I think that they're, you know, I'm in contact with plenty of youth and the kind of Tesla fans and things, and they love it. Their instant reaction was they love it. It's kind of like, I guess I would equate it to the new Star Wars movies that I absolutely can't stand, but tons of people love them. So, you know, but I honestly kind of like the truck. The Roadster and the truck, I think I personally, those are my two favorite vehicles, because to me, those are advanced, cool, crazy EV vehicles. Like why would you want to buy a sedan EV for $130,000 when, by the way, I could take somebody to a great car lot I know and buy an unbelievable used vehicle, Beamer, Mercedes, whatever, for $38,000 to $45,000. I'm talking 5 Series Beamer or E-Class Mercedes. So to me, the value per dollar on a Tesla is terrible. But if you want to get a cool Tesla, well, the Roadster or the truck might be kind of cool.
So what are your thoughts on, I don't know if when I don't remember the last time we spoke to you, but it had to have been before a good chunk of this recent move in Tesla here. So like, what are your thoughts on just the stock here?
Well, my first thought is it's a stock I don't really do much on. I think most people would probably be better off trading other things, because I think for most people, Tesla, they're going to lose money trading Tesla. And
I stay away from Tesla too.
yeah, it's like
stock trade.
But part of the way to make a lot of money in the market is to know the 98% of the trades that you just shouldn't do, or 98% of the investments to stay away from. And if you can focus in on things that you can make money on, you're going to have immense success. And most people just don't, I guess they don't have a filter, or they don't have a way to know what to stay away from or something. But so that my first thought on Tesla is basically I ignore Tesla. I did short it at 496. I used put spreads. Those put spreads are worth 0 now. I was right. I was incredibly right for one day. It was down like 25 points the next day. The problem is, since I was in put spreads, they were only up, de minimis. I mean, I could have taken some kind of a gain. It was probably a decent percentage gain. But when I'm in a put spread, I mean, I'm let's say I'm paying $3 or $5 for the spread. I mean, I want to make 100% pretty much, right? I probably don't take it off. So, if I was up 20%, to me, it's de minimis. And yeah, I was up for a day and it's been down ever since. And, we'll see what happens. I still have time on it. I need it to go to I think I need 460 to max the spread.
Never say
never. By the way, that could happen in a day. So how
much more time you got on that?
I think I got 2 weeks.
Oh, wait, no, I don't know if you got to do it in
February. 2 weeks. February 21st, I think.
But that was also part of a hedge, right, over the overall. And that's the other thing I want to talk to you about.
It was, but let me add that. The only bad thing, I actually thought Tesla would work as a hedge. It's actually a terrible hedge because the market went down. So in other words, I kind of, just so you guys know, and I kind of alluded to this when we were doing our hour spots. The only thing I was buying in late December, as you remember, were my January effect trades, and I was raising cash. I literally raised cash for 5 weeks straight.
I just want to talk to you about that. I just want to talk to you because people.
Real quick, I raised cash for 5 weeks straight, but so I put on some hedges. Tesla was one of the hedges, and Tesla did exactly opposite. I got the correction I wanted, and Tesla went up. So that's the problem with using Tesla for a hedge. It doesn't work.
But so you were in that cash raising mode in January before any of this, coronavirus started, correct?
Yep.
Right. So
had nothing to do with coronavirus. The market just kept going up, and every day the market went up. I raised cash, pretty much.
All right. So we did have a correction of somewhat, right? The SPOOs hit 33, 37.50. We broke down to 32.12.75. So my question to you is the correction over? Is it time just to full in, buy the dip here? You missed the low on Friday, the low of the move, and we're going right back up to all-time highs.
Honestly, I don't know. Today feels like it's a little vulnerable. So last week, early in the week, I said I felt we had anywhere from 400 to 700 points lower in the NASDAQ. I think we put in 250 to 300 for the rest of the week. So my high target on the low side was another 100 points in the NASDAQ. So I said 89.25 on the NASDAQ, I think was my initial target. But then, I got room that it could go another 300 beyond that. And I don't know. We'll see. China brought some barrels to play. The stimulus, I think they cut rates a little bit.
Oh, short selling.
Ton of liquidity. So to me, it's not so much the numbers they're doing. It's the fact that China is going to be we basically, the markets now are on watch that China is going to be very proactive to basically get stocks higher and protect their economy. So you better respect that, because it's like fighting the Fed. It's like if you're shorting stocks when the Fed's lowering rates, you're going to get steamrolled. So my guess is if you're shorting Chinese stocks, at some point, all they need is one headline that
virus is getting better.
Yes, they're curing more people than are dying or something. I don't know. It's literally will turn, the corona selling will stop on a headline. So I can't predict when that headline, I don't know. I don't think we've seen it yet though. I don't think we've, oh, go ahead, Dennis.
No, I'm just going to say that's exactly true. This will stop on a headline. Anybody who's looking at technicals and saying, well, I can tell where the stock's going to, where Chinese stock's going to start going down by looking at the charts.
No, there's no way.
I don't think that's even possible. It's all headlines. I mean, if this continues to escalate and get worse, China stock's going lower. If they if they start getting contained, virus, and we get, the virus gets contained and we get a vaccine coming out, we saw even, I think a lot of today's rally is even to do with Gilead. With a potential vaccine.
Gilead's up. In fact, you know what? I had a weird feeling that Gilead, I was literally looking at Gilead, and there was another one I was looking at. But just so you know, I haven't played a single antiviral trade. I don't, same thing. I'm better off just staying away from that stuff.
Flipping a coin.
But anyway, Joel, to specifically answer your question, I think we go a little lower maybe, but it's going to stop on a headline. And we're at the point where I don't really know. I mean, I will say this: a lot of stocks that I like are back in buyable ranges for me.
Give us a couple of those, because I'm sitting with a ton of cash now, and I will eventually put some of this cash back to work. Give me a couple names, Sean.
Sure. Well, I mean, even like high quality, on the high quality side, I really like Dell. Especially for you, if you like your long-term portfolio.
Yeah, I do. This is the long-term stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah, like you'll sit on stuff literally for 2 or 3 years, like I will, or more,
or
sometimes
decades.
7 years. I mean, Dell is worth $15 billion more just on the VMware stake they own. It's the ultimate ARB play, long-term ARB play. So it's worth $15 billion more just on the VMware stake. But I think Dell's just cheap on its own merits. So then another one, kind of my long-term favorite 5G play, high quality, is Qualcomm. I mean, Qualcomm, it's not where I would call it like I'm buying leaps again on it, but it's pulled back huge, pretty good pullback. If you believe they're going to report well for the next 2 or 3 quarters, which I do, this is probably a pretty good price, because I think the stock's, minimum $100 stock and probably more like $150. So if you kind of believe in 5G and believe Qualcomm's kind of the king of 5G, that's an easy one too. But the ones I'm more like are like things like IIVI. I'm starting to look at Adtran, ADTN, Lumentum, which is LITE, reports tomorrow morning. I think they're going to have a crusher of a good report. That should help.
Does it concern you about the virus though, with Apple going down right now? With that, like.
Not really, because I'll just sort of take what, if they want to put a little more pain. First of all, that's only one market. It's more, I guess, if they have a full disruption, it'd be more of a manufacturing disruption as opposed to a global supply disruption. So now again, there's no way to really time the exact low on high beta stocks, but I'm just saying that, starting to wade into some of them.
Might not be a bad idea.
I think earnings are going to be pretty good too. I mean, Cirrus had a blowout earnings. Maxim was super good. The Apple food chain's fine. I really don't think a lot of tech sales are going to be crimped. I think the sales are being crimped, or like we're seeing it. People are driving cars less. They're probably going out to eat less. So I don't know. I don't think people are really buying fewer computers or iPhones or tablets or tech. In fact, I might be sitting at home and ordering stuff online and getting stuff shipped to them. I don't know. But anyway, the 5G sell-off, and it had, there's probably, I have about 20 or 30 stocks I follow in the 5G space. They haven't been immune at all. They've actually taken a pretty good hit. And I almost think that's kind of counterintuitive to the selling. So that's the kind of stuff I tend to like.
We're on the line with Sean Udall. He's the CIO of Quantum Trading Strategies. Talking about the Apple stocks related to that. How about Skyworks, SWKS?
I really liked it a lot lower. It's just hard for me. I wouldn't short it, but I like, God, where was it? 68 to kind of 75. I really liked it.
It's how it's move.
Yeah, a lot of my subs did very well. I even said, look, I'm not buying it because I'm buying other things like that. I was long Vicor at the time when Skyworks was really cheap. That was also one of those periods of time where IIVI was probably $30. So there were other things I kind of liked better at the time, but it was a nice play. I also was looking at Qorvo, right around 70, 72, I think. I never bought that, but that's had a big move. You know, the one here's one that's interesting. There's a stock called National Instruments. I'm sure you both have heard of it. NATI. Probably one of the best reports last week that never got talked about at all was their report. This is sort of a growth reacceleration story. They have very good. In fact, they have a lot of a very robust 5G portfolio. And the stock was actually up. I think it was up 10% in after hours.
Yeah.
And then it opened the next morning up about around where the after hours high was, and then I think it finished the day up about $1. So this thing, and if you put a like a 5-year chart on this, like a weekly chart, it's not like it's dirt cheap because it's probably doubled off 16 lows or 17 lows, but it's had about a 3-year consolidation. So you know, another one, I don't know if Dennis, you probably own this one. I don't know. What do you think about Cisco? I kind of think the time for Cisco is kind of right now. So I like Cisco a lot too on the kind of the boring high quality stuff. I like Cisco a lot.
I've been in this one. I bought it when it was really coming down, but I bought it before that one earnings report, and then it gapped down on me. It came back up.
Look at this
50, so I'm down on
look at this beautiful drop on this thing. And this is a very high quality company, and they could do well while other technology stocks are not. I firmly believe they're going to go into at least hold their growth phase, if not accelerate their slow growth phase.
I mean, long-term investing is such a tricky animal, and you know, sometimes you got to take some heat for a while before the trades turn in your favor, especially when you're a contrarian, like, you know, I am and Sean is as well. I mean, Activision Blizzard was one that we talked about on this show for a while, being cheap under 50, but it was there for like a year. And finally, you know, it's starting to show a little bit of life here, you know, after all this time. But I mean, there's, you know, it's tricky as a long-term investor. You can't just, you know, want to just all of a sudden, you know, have gratification. It's nice as a trader to get immediate gratification, but sometimes some of my best long-term investments have been stocks that I've just kind of put in my long-term portfolio, forget about them, and then you look at them, you know, in a few years, and they're significant winners. So just doing your homework.
Yeah. Well, in my family, I actually think Cisco, like things get into ranges where, okay, it's probably a good investment buy, but now trades start setting up on it, right? Again, I always tell everybody, it's one of the most simple technicals, but hey, look, if a stock gets back above the 5 EMA on a daily chart, now, so for one, well, I should back up. If it's below the 5 EMA and going down, you can wait on it. You're not going to miss a lot if you wait at least for it to get back above the 5 EMA. So, you know, on something like a Cisco, you know, you can wait, maybe you miss a point or something, 1.5 points, gets back above the 5 EMA, might be a pretty good trade. Unless you want to take a knife grab. I think it might be a decent knife grab. Here's what I was hoping for though. I was hoping for 1 or 2 more down days. Not like, I didn't think we were going to get as big a down days as Friday, but I was just kind of hoping for 1 or 2 more down days. Like, again, anywhere from another 75 to 150 NASDAQ points. I think a lot of stuff would start setting up really good, but we might be there right now.
On the Cisco, that would bring you into like the 43, 44 range, which is the bottom of the range. So, I mean, and that's the one thing about technicals. We said, you know, you can't predict, you know, maybe, you know, what the next headline is going to be to which way to drive us. But at the same time, you can still use technicals to look at your levels and say, hey, if we get a bad headline here, this is where this stock, you know, I've liked it for a while. This is where it could potentially hold up.
Exactly.
So you can always use the levels, even though, you know, sometimes they're not going to be able to allow you to predict the direction of the next move because we're a headline-driven market right now, depending on this virus.
And then the last area, I mean, I think Chinese equities are setting up really well. And you know, again, this is going to be probably a tougher bottoming call again, because it's going to be a headline. So we're all going to wake up one morning and go, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't buy more China stuff yesterday or 2 days ago. But here's the one thing that's happening, I know for a fact. Their money is coming out of US equities. Now, this is by the largest institutional investors in the world, and they're going to do this for the next year, at least 3 or 4 quarters. They're going to divest of US equities, and they're going to reallocate to EEM. And the largest part of EEM is China. So the China is going to see a lot of inflows, and they're not going to see inflows for 3 weeks. They're going to see inflows for 3 quarters. So whenever this coronavirus thing is done, you're going to have, you know, you're going to have a pretty good pull up in a lot of Chinese equities. So the higher the quality and the better the growth they are, I think the better they'll act. So I think if you get an opportunity to buy high quality Chinese equities on, like literally where they're dropping 20%, 25% in a week, that's probably a pretty good, again, could be both a trade and an investment.
Anything on the short side here real quickly before we let you go?
Well, again, now the short side's getting tougher. I was in some, I'm in some SQQ calls. I mean, most of my shorts are really hedges.
Yep.
My only tactical / investment shorts right now are Microsoft and Ring. I got a couple other high value software ones, but those are probably my two favorite. And Microsoft, I think, is a lot like Apple. If the market keeps going down, I'm pretty sure Microsoft will go down. So I like that just from
it's
the
not
fact
like Tesla.
that look. Yeah, well, yeah, it's opposite. I think it's opposite Tesla. Like if the QQQs are down, I think it's very high probability Microsoft
For sure.
is lower. And then Ring, I think, is just almost the opposite of where I liked Ring a few years ago, where it was crazy cheap stock between 10 and 20. I think it's kind of becoming a crazy expensive. And Ring is easy to pair because you can own a VIA, AVYA. So you can be long a VIA, short Ring. Beautiful pair trade, but I think Ring's a good short. So that's it. On the short, my hedge has been cash. I don't know, for some reason I just felt like raising cash was a better hedge. Yeah,
it's much easier.
It
much
is
easier.
All right, Sean Udall has been on our guest today. He is the CIO of Quantum Trading Strategies. Sean, thanks for the time and have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
I just want to make a quick point when someone was, we were talking about Tesla and targets and things like that. Texas Linda made a really good point, and she said she uses the average trading range, which is now 25.56 in Tesla. So I don't know what duration of the trading range that is, the average trading range. If
$25
a day.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Oh, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's a $600 stock
not
now, so I put that
much.
in perspective.
I guess you're right, but
It's not much.
I guess it seems high, but I guess you're right. It's
No,
not.
on a percentage, but that is when you use that, then you're taking targets and you're saying, okay, this is the norm. This is what the market gives me. But on the days when it, okay, you got to determine, well, this is not going to be an average day here. It's going to be 50 points. And then maybe if you have 3 or 4 days where it only moves 10 or 12 points, it gives you a key too. Like, hey, maybe a move's coming, another move higher. But I just thought that was a great point by Texas Linda, a veteran here, a veteran listener of Benzinga's Prep.
All right, I want to get to some ratings here. There are a few big ones. Goldman Sachs downgrading ExxonMobil this morning to sell. They're also downgrading Northrop Grumman, NOC, to sell as well. And they're downgrading LAIX to sell. That's all from Goldman Sachs there. We're also
what is the other one? LAIX. I don't follow that company at all. You hit one that I don't know.
I'm just going to run through the list here. BMO Capital is downgrading EA to their version of neutral. Credit Suisse is downgrading Viacom or Viacom CBS and Verizon to neutral. And we get a Royal Caribbean downgrade, which is interesting because we've been talking about that as it relates to the coronavirus.
Right.
So, but that's what I saw as far as downgrades. ExxonMobil was the big one at Goldman Sachs along with NOC.
Upgrades are crazy. There's a ton of upgrades here today.
Yeah, a
This
lot
is
of
guts. That takes guts. I mean, I guess people are saying that buy the dip. They're saying all these stocks buy the dip.
Biggest upgrade I'm seeing this morning, or what I think could be for the day, is the Nike upgrade at UBS to buy.
Yeah, for sure.
UBS upgrades Nike from neutral to buy, raising their price target from $103 to $136 a share. That may be the biggest call of the day. Wow, there are a lot.
All of these upgrades are trying to catch a falling knife because all these stocks were straight down on Friday. So you got to give the analysts some props for having some guts. And we got Seagate getting upgraded Stifel to buy. I'm just trying to look at some of the other ones, widely traded names. Bluebird Bio, that'll move. That's getting upgraded to buy at Evercore. So BLUE, which has been down significantly as well. It's a stock that I've been eyeing for a while.
Which one's that?
Bluebird Bio. It's one that I thought if it got back down in the low 70s that I might actually put some cash to work on it. I mean, you can't look at this as a valuation play. I always just thought it could eventually be an acquisition target. Because there's obviously a couple of their peers were bought in the last few years. So I don't mind this call on Bluebird Bio, although I'd like it in the lower 70s.
And Dennis, you know what your trade of the day on Friday was?
What's that?
When you took the loss on the Chevron bet.
Oh, it was. I suckered. You suckered me into that, and I suckered you out of it. I was all over the chips in a pop. I was like, yeah, I'm wrong on this one. This thing's going down. I mean, they're ugly. Exxon and Chevron. This is going to tell you guys, like, we've talked about oil stocks on this show, and people would look at my portfolio and they'd say you're nuts because I have almost no exposure to oil. Like very little. The only way I do is indirectly through some Canadian ETFs because there's a lot of Canadian ETFs that are chock full of oil. So indirectly I have some exposure, but I used to have ExxonMobil. I used to have a lot of oil stocks. I believe the electrification of cars is something that is coming. This isn't like, a short-term downtrend where, we can see catalysts for bringing this higher. I look at the long-term prospects for oil and oil companies as being very poor. We're going electric. You can see it's priced in Tesla. The other automotive companies have to figure it out as well, which they will. But that is all bad news for stocks like Exxon and Chevron and Conoco. There's going to be rallies. There's been some significant rallies in these things before, but I think the long-term trend is still your friend in all these oil companies, and I'd be a seller of rallies in all of them.
You've been sticking with that one. Spencer, anything that
just a couple more Monster beverage. We haven't talked about that in a while. Upgrade at Morgan Stanley to overweight this morning. Ulta Beauty upgrade at Goldman Sachs to buy. Herman Miller. Nah, that's not a notable firm. That's what else do we see? GD upgrade. General Dynamics upgrade at Argus to buy. And I think that's it as far as the upgrades that really caught my eye. You mentioned Seagate already.
Yep.
And okay. So on that note, that will do it. Oh, Charter Communications upgrade at Credit Suisse.
A lot of ratings. Just overall thoughts here. Again,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we think the results of the Iowa caucus tonight could impact sentiment tomorrow? No. Like if Bernie wins tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I will say Bernie is a factor here with the markets. It's a muted factor. If we didn't have the whole coronavirus thing going on, everybody would be watching this story as it materializes. The coronavirus headlines are just taking over and everybody's looking at that. So you're going to see any, thing from that as not being as important. So coronavirus dominates all right now, but Bernie's important to this, market, and not so much in the good way. I mean, as Bernie gains steam, it's not good for Wall Street. So, and obviously, he's even, been a proponent of, financial transaction tax, which we've talked about and stuff. So as a trader, I'm kind of nervous myself, about Bernie, gaining steam like he is. So what are your thoughts on Bernie, Joel? I love what he stands for. I love that he stands for the little guy. I actually, probably if I wasn't a trader, I'd probably be a fan. But as a trader, this guy's trying to attack my trading career.
The Iowa caucus isn't always indicative.
Yeah,
of who's
the only thing I'm gonna say is I don't think the winner of the Iowa caucus means anything.
Right. I mean, and I think historically, it's not at least recently has not been a great indicator for who will win or who will even get the nomination. I remember when Mike Huckabee won the Iowa caucus, 2008?
Yeah,
right? So it's not always an indicator of who will win the primary. It's just, but I would imagine if Bernie were to win tonight, it could impact the market sentiment tomorrow.
I don't think so, but
okay.
Anyways,
we will see.
Brent, I don't know if that's the Brent in our desk or at Nick Cage 1974 pointed out to us over the weekend that Apple has done an acquisition. We were talking about buying anybody, and you know who they bought in, I believe, 2009, 2010?
Who they buy?
Siri. They bought
Siri, that's
developer of a personal assistant app. Apple.
But who owned that? So stop for a second. That wasn't like a big, because I said, that they've done little deals. They've done little, stuff, even people, they bought Dr. Dre. I mean, Spinner pointed that out. They've done little stuff, but it's never been their style to come and do a big deal.
Yeah.
So I don't consider that like a huge mega deal at all.
They bought Dr. Dre or they bought Dr. Dre's.
Oh, I know. Well, they did. They basically did. They bought Beats. So they bought Dr. Dre.
Okay. Well,
also, I love Dr. Dre.
I'll retweet.
Andre.
All right.
Gotta wrap up the show before Dennis starts singing again.
I'm gonna start singing rap songs.
Okay,
here.
you can
and then most of them are offside for the show.
Yeah. Well, you can always give us a call. And if you want to hear Dennis sing outside of the show, give us a call, 734-494-0246. Email us premarket@benzinga.com. Thanks to our guest today, Sean Udall, and everybody in our chats for a free 2-week trial of Benzinga Pro and a discount thereafter. Click on the link for Benzinga Pro in the description of this YouTube video. A reminder about the Cannabis Capital Conference coming up February 24th and 25th in Miami. Go to benzingaevents.com to learn more there. Catch our show on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. And please remember, all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes only, not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.